I believe everyone has a story to tell. And I believe everyone deserves a little pampering. Welcome to Mannies with Grannies. I'm your host, Tiffany Marino. Join me while I sit down with a woman over 70 and get to know her while giving her a manicure. Hello, friends. I am here today getting to know Shirley Blair. Shirley, thank you for having me in your home today.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to give you a manicure. What color polish would you like to have?
Just a pale pink.
A nice pale pink, okay.
Not that one.
That's nice and summery. Oh, look at how much it matches your shirt.
You're right.
So we scheduled this interview today through your daughter, Jennifer. Do you have other kids or just Jennifer?
I have 4 children.
What are their names?
Michelle, Jennifer, Patrice, and Dan.
So 3 girls, and then the youngest is a boy?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what it was like when they were all young?
Well, yeah, but they weren't all young all at once.
Okay.
I had my first one and my second one far apart.
Do you remember how many years apart?
No, I'd have to think about it. I'd have to figure it out. See, Michelle, I think, is 65 or 6. And I think Jennifer is 60. Not sure.
Uh-huh.
And Patrice is like 55. Yeah, Dan is 55. He just had a birthday yesterday.
Oh,
so
just
Patrice
yesterday.
is a couple years older.
Do you remember what it was like when you found out that you were pregnant the first time? When you were going to become a mother?
Mm-hmm.
How did that feel?
Good. Very good.
Do you remember?
I always enjoyed being pregnant.
What about being pregnant did you enjoy?
Just the idea that I was going to have a baby. And I just love babies.
Did you get to tell your husband that you were pregnant?
Mm-hmm.
And what was that like?
And he was happy about it. Yeah, very happy about it.
Did you both work?
I worked for a while, and yes, he worked. There was a company in Warren called Blair that his family had started. That's where he worked.
So your last name, Blair, is the family name for the local company, Blair?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
Now, you mentioned earlier that your husband grew up in this house.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the Blair family house?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like there's a lot of history in this home.
It's a nice house. I love it here.
The yard's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up?
I was born in Youngsville, if you know where that is. And when I was quite young, we moved to Irvin because my dad worked at the forge. So my mother and dad had a house built in Irvin. So that's where I lived until I was about 15.
Did you have brothers and sisters growing up?
My mother left us when we lived in Irvin. When we were quite young, and my father eventually remarried. And so with my mother, there were 3 of us. And then when my dad had 2 more children to my stepmother, so there were 5 of us.
That's a story you don't usually hear, a mother leaving the family. That must have been difficult.
Yes. Yes. Very sad.
Do you have any insight on why she left?
The house, it's hard to explain because she didn't even know really what happened, but she felt she was having a nervous breakdown. The house wasn't going well. And she moved to Warren and had a room in Dr. Camel's house, who was a famous piano teacher in Warren. And anyway, when I was 15, I got to move back with my mother. And then I was very happy about that. We got along very well.
So she was able to take the time to herself. She took herself out of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And she was able to then get herself back to a place where she could have her kids living with her.
Well, I'm the only one that
you
left.
were the only one? Okay.
Yes, I'm the only one that left. My stepmother and I didn't get along very well.
Why do you think that was?
I don't know, except that she knew I loved my mother, and I don't know why we didn't get along. Of course, I wasn't the perfect child, and she'd never had any children, so at first, of course. So I don't know why we didn't get along, but I don't think she liked me very well. I'm sure she had good reason for not liking me, but I don't know exactly what it was, except she knew that I liked my mother and I wanted to live with her. I ran away once on my bike and biked all the way from Irvine to Warren. And then they came and got me and took me back. I wasn't happy about that. But anyhow, then I eventually got to live with my mother, and then I was very happy. When I was about 15, I went to live with my mother and went to Warren. I was going to Youngsville High School, but then I went to Warren. I didn't know anybody, of course, in Warren, but it was still a good experience. I made some good friends. Yeah.
Good. Were you in any clubs or sports in school?
Basketball. I always liked sports.
Basketball was the game you liked to play?
Yeah, but I would have liked anything in sports. Yeah.
Do you remember going?
In fact, I'm sorry.
No.
I forgot to tell you, I played tennis for a long time. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was my favorite sport.
Did you continue playing tennis into adulthood then?
Mm-hmm. I did.
Do you still play now?
No, I wish. I wish. My balance isn't good enough to play tennis. I'm afraid I'll fall.
I forgot to ask earlier, how old are you?
88.
Okay, 88 years old. How does it feel to be 88?
Feels good. Yeah. I wish I could play sports. I wish I could do more, but I feel good. I don't have anything wrong with me.
Is there anything that you want young people to know about getting older?
Well, just to try to have a positive mind and to eat right.
I think that's good advice.
If you don't eat right, you're not going to feel good. And if you don't think right, you're not going to feel good.
What are some things that you do to take care of yourself now at 88 years old?
I go to strength training. Or, it's not training, but I do strengthening twice a week at a chiropractor. She's a chiropractor, but she also does strength training. I do that. And unfortunately, I have a really bad foot, so I can't walk very much or be on my feet a lot. So that doesn't give me a lot of options.
Mm-hmm. What happened to your foot?
I had a fallen arch years ago when I played tennis. And over the years, it just got, your foot keeps rolling over.
Okay.
Pretty soon you're walking on your ankle practically.
You lose support. Your arch support goes away. Is that what it is?
I don't know, but I have a really bad foot.
Mm.
It's my right foot, and my ankle is very swollen.
Mm.
So I don't dare walk a lot or do a lot on my feet. So that really doesn't let you do a lot.
What do you like to spend your time doing?
Reading. I used to bake a lot. I don't do that anymore. And I love going out to lunch, having friends over.
When you did a lot of baking, was there any recipe that you were known for?
Cookies. Yeah, I made a lot of cookies.
You were the cookie lady?
Yes, I was the cookie lady. I started cookies when I lived in Irvine with my stepmother. I was the cookie maker, and I always loved sweets, and my stepmother didn't like to bake. So if I made cookies, I got to eat some of them without her knowing it. Because we were never allowed to have sugar in between meals. So I had a good reason to make cookies.
Uh-huh.
I could eat them. I could sneak them.
Was there a certain type of cookie that was everyone's favorite that you made?
I made a lot of Toll House. And peanut butter. And I made a cookie that I got from an elderly lady, and that was called Mrs. Gray's Cookies. And that was always men's favorite cookie. Women didn't like it, but men did.
That's interesting.
It was great big white cookie, puffy cookie. And funniest thing that it was just always called a man's cookie.
Okay, I wonder why.
I don't know why they liked it. It was kind of a nutmeg type flavor.
Huh.
But I never made pies or cakes. But my mother was really good at baking. My mother made all that stuff.
So you get the baking gene from your mom?
Yep.
That's nice.
Yeah. And she died when she was 93.
Wow, she lived a long life.
So maybe I have a few years to go. My grandmother died when she was 93.
Wow. What do you think the secret to a long life is?
Just to be happy, I guess. I think if you're happy, and if you take care of yourself, which I know nobody does all the time. At least I don't take care of myself all the time.
I like to think sometimes not taking care of myself might be taking care of myself. Maybe I just need a break from it.
Yeah.
How did you meet your husband?
I think I met him at a place called Oakview, which it's not open anymore. It was like a real nice eating place, and it had a nice bar. And a lot of people, kids, young people, would hang out there. I think that's where I met him.
Now, you mentioned earlier that he's no longer with us. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yes, so am I.
What's his name?
Bob.
Bob.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you and Bob married?
I am not sure. I've forgotten. I did know, but I can't. I've just forgotten.
Do you remember the year you were married?
No, I don't. I don't have a very good memory.
It's okay. Do you remember anything about the wedding?
We didn't have a wedding. We just got married. And a friend of mine and her husband stood up for us, and we laughed during the whole ceremony. I don't think my husband liked that very much.
That you weren't serious?
They made me laugh, and I couldn't stop. We just got married with, at a justice of the peace. Uh-huh. I blame it all on them.
Would you say that you had a happy marriage?
Oh, yes, I did. I did have a happy marriage. Mm-hmm. I'd been married once before and had my first child. But that marriage didn't last long.
Do you know why the marriage didn't work out?
Well, he was just a playboy.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't marriage material, but he was very likable, too likable.
So then you met your second husband.
Yes. I think Michelle was probably, I had a child to Jim, and I think Michelle was probably 3 or 4 when we got married.
Do you remember the first house you lived in together?
Bob and I, yes, it was over on the south side. It was a nice apartment. It was a first floor apartment, and then we had neighbors upstairs. That's a pretty color.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
I picked a good color.
So I know you don't have a great memory, but you've lived through a lot of pretty big milestones, historic moments.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any historic moments that really stick out in your mind? Like you were a really young child during World War II.
Yes, I was. I remember the war and going to the movies, and they would always have pictures of all the people dying and how awful it was. And I remember how happy I was when the war was over. That's such a pretty color. I shouldn't be talking like that, should I?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's fine. This ring that you're wearing is beautiful. Is there a story behind your ring?
Oh, that's just the ring that Bob gave me when we got married.
Do you have a favorite memory from growing up?
Well, I loved going fishing with my brothers in Irvin. And when my stepmother had a child, I loved taking care of that child. And I had a wonderful father, very quiet.
What made him such a good father?
Oh, he was just a very honest, hardworking. He was just a really good person. He was from a really nice family.
How did he show you that he loved you?
He wasn't demonstrative at all. He didn't give hugs and kisses, and he wasn't that type of person, but we just knew, but he was just kind to us, always nice, we never feared him, or of course we would fear him if we had done something wrong, but I mean, we wouldn't fear him, but we'd fear getting a spanking, but anyway, he was just a real nice guy. His whole family he came from a family of 3. There were 3 brothers and 3 sisters, and they were all great. And I loved my mother dearly, too. I always got along really well with her.
You never felt any kind of anger or resentment that she left?
I don't remember that I did, no, because there was nothing I could do about that. But I would be angry with my stepmother a lot because she wouldn't let me call my mother or talk to her or anything like that. But once in a while, we were allowed to talk for 5 minutes or so with her. So my stepmother did the best she could, I'm sure, because her mother died when she was real young. So I'm sure she was as nice as she knew how to be.
It sounds like you really enjoyed motherhood.
I did. I loved having kids.
What do you think the best part about having kids was?
Oh, I just love the love you have for them. And then it's just so great. I love babies. And it's just so wonderful to have your kids close by and know you're going to have them all, forever. For as long as you live, hopefully. If nothing bad happens to them, and nothing has, my kids are all well.
What do you think was the hardest part of being a mother?
The hardest part for me was when I had to go away for 2 weeks after I married Bob. He would insist on a 2-week vacation every year. And that was really hard on me and my kids, for me to be gone for 2 weeks.
but it was something that your husband really valued.
Yes.
The two of you having your
Yes.
time together.
Well, yeah. They're beautiful.
Thank you.
I hope I don't ruin them.
We have to let them dry. We'll put a top coat on. Would you like a sticker?
You can help yourself to those cookies,
I'm going to have one. Should we put a sticker on? Or just leave it without?
I'd rather have it without.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me more about your husband. What did you love about Bob?
Oh, he was just a really good person, very well liked. And we enjoyed each other. We enjoyed going out together and to dinner. And he was just a good provider. He was a real good person.
Do you have any advice for younger married people?
There's all kinds of good things you can read about having a good marriage, I guess. It can't be for me. Because every marriage is so different. I enjoyed growing up in Irvine. It was a nice, quiet town to grow up in. We had a grocery store and a post office, and there's a little stone church in Irvine that we went to. That's kind of a famous little church, because it's been there for so long. And we had a school right across the street from us, grade school. And then when you were in high school, you went to Youngsville. But then when I moved to Warren, of course, I went to school in Warren.
Is there anything you miss from your childhood?
I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
No, I've never thought about it.
Do you have grandkids?
Yes.
Thinking about
I have great
grandkids. Thinking about how your great grandkids are growing up today compared to how you grew up.
Right. We grew up in our school in Irvine. We said the Lord's Prayer every morning before class. And, we had to salute the flag. And our classes were very disciplined. Very. Nobody talked back to the teacher. And it's completely the opposite today. I mean, kids are swearing at their teachers, doing terrible things. I don't know, but that's taken a long time to change.
Yeah.
But I would not like to be in school today.
I agree. Me neither.
Are these all done?
Yeah. So we're done the manicure. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about or share today?
No.
Okay, great. This was fun.
I'm sure I was very boring.
No, this was great. I had a great time. Do you like your nails?
Oh, I love the color.
They match your shirt so great.
Yes, I love the color. It's so pretty. Never had this color before on my nails.
Well, Shirley, thank you so much for sitting down and talking to me today. This was great. And I hope you had fun too.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to Manny's with Grannies. I hope you enjoyed learning about someone else and maybe even learned a little about yourself.